you need to see this. It's
something that'll change the world and human life as we know it.
He knows. He's seen the light.
When Monty talks, it's painful.
Monty, you have been so instrumental in kind of pointing me in the right direction.
It was about looking at your character defects in spirituality.
It's the integration of clinical practices with the 12 steps.
It's an absolute pleasure. He certainly knows a lot of people. He's got a lot of energy, and sometimes when you don't have so much energy, he picks you up and carries you.
Having the Monty man there certainly helps.
This is one of the places that is about the business of the solution.
The views expressed on this special broadcast of the Take 12 radio show do not necessarily reflect those of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting or its affiliates. KHLT is not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship.
Now here's that guy who's getting less popular minute by minute, your host, the Multi-Man.
Well, greetings, one and all. How the heck are you? Welcome to the show this week here at Take12Radio.com on your internet dial. Somebody asked me the other day, what is that theme song? Well, that's Henry Mancini's The Peter Gunn theme. Now, I'm going to tell it myself and tell you that I know that theme very well. I used to watch that show, and that's going to make me sound really old because you're not going to find that show in any other version other than black and white. It was one of the original detective shows called Peter Gunn. So there, I hope I answered your question, Steve, the guy that emailed me and wanted to know where that music came from. So there that is there. Hey, listen, our email address here is take12radio@comcast.net. We are the world's oldest and only faith-based recovery talk show, broadcasting recovery talk and positive music 24/7 on your internet dial and over some terrestrial radio stations. Our website, if you're listening on YouTube or watching on YouTube, is take12radio.com. You can use the number 12 or the word. It'll take you to the same place. All right. So let's chat just for a second about the controversy that is recovery and the internet. Because there's some of you out there, and I find it interesting that you're listening to the show because you have to use the internet to do that, that don't like it. You think it's a tradition violation, but you're not really sure why or how. You're just kind of freaking out about it. Let me tell you, let your heart not be troubled, because you know that I'm overly opinionated and that I'm always right. So I'm just going to tell you, you're dead wrong. So chill out. Now, for those of you who love recovery and the internet and the combination of the two, you're going to love this show. This show's for you. My guest this week is Michelle Cote. And Michelle is a senior administrator for several of the mainstream recovery social networking sites on Facebook. Now, my son told me the other day that if I'm a Facebook regular, that's out of date. It's all about Twitter now. Well, we post all our stuff on Twitter too. So there you go. We're all over social media. We're on Twitter. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Google+. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook and a whole bunch of others. But today we're talking about Facebook specifically. And the recovery community within the Facebook community is absolutely huge. It's huge. And some of the largest and most more popular, as well as just heavily participated Facebook pages are Solutions and Recovery Prevention, Recovery Solutions, Just for Today, Happiness and Recovery, all of which my guest, Michelle Cote, is a senior administrator for. Michelle, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Monty. Glad to be here.
What exactly is an administrator? Tell us what that is, because some people that listen to this show don't do social media at all, so they don't know what we're talking about.
Well, Monty, an administrator is someone who makes sure the group guidelines are followed by everyone, that the group stays in a recovery meeting format, pretty much keeps everyone safe in sharing their stories, sharing their struggles, and maintains the integrity of the group.
So how in the world did you get, you sound like you're in a pretty good mood today. Things are going pretty good, but it wasn't always that way, right?
Right? Sure wasn't.
What was going on before you got into this recovery thing? Was your life a mess? What was happening to Michelle?
My life was completely unmanageable, and I was powerless to change it. Addiction, pretty much wrecked my life at one point.
Yeah. Were you a multiple substance abuser?
I started out drinking and then progressed from alcohol to marijuana, from marijuana to powder cocaine, then to crystal methamphetamine.
Right.
And pretty much that's where it derailed.
Yeah. Yeah, it all came crashing down around you.
Yes.
So what kind of family background do you come from? You got brothers and sisters?
I have a half brother and half sister. I was oldest, so I was 12 years older than them.
Yeah.
And, my stepfather at the time was an alcoholic.
Right.
And so I'm an adult child now, not alcoholic. He no longer drinks, which I'm very thankful for.
Yeah, amen.
But, it molds and shapes us in ways that are not so good sometimes, and we end up being what we don't like.
Yeah. Well, isn't that the case? So this definitely was had a genetic element to it for you. True?
True.
Yeah. Yeah. Was it difficult for you to come to an understanding that you weren't this horrible, god-awful person, that you were sick?
Yes, Maury, and mostly I think that was due to I was a lot of years considered a functioning addict. I own businesses, functions, you wouldn't know it. And so I tell people just because someone doesn't look like an addict doesn't mean they are.
Right.
So what happened with me, I had, they used to call it a nervous breakdown. Now they call it a psychotic break, which sounds horrible, like Norman Bates style, but it actually means a break from reality.
Right.
And I was using drugs at the time, so I also had what was called a chemically induced psychosis on top of that, which, due to massive drug use at the time, rendered me catatonic and in the hospital. With little to no prognosis, doctors told my family they should check into long-term care. Basically, they had done everything they could. And so, to me, that meant I was in God's hands.
Yeah.
He was restored, only he could have pulled me back from that. Once you're through that abyss and you're past medical help, that's it. There's no denying how you got back.
Well, on your journey back, at some point, did you walk through the doors of a recovery support fellowship?
I did, but due to finding out sometimes, a dual diagnosis is something I do have.
Yeah.
But because I had never known it before, I let the diagnosis kind of lead my thinking. My addicted mind said, there's a reason you do this. Instead of grabbing onto recovery, I got lost in the diagnosis part.
Oh.
I ultimately relapsed, because I didn't get into a program or a fellowship, no sub-step work whatsoever. And that relapse led me several years later to a 10-year sentence in prison.
So would you say that today's 12-step fellowships perhaps aren't fully equipped to deal with people with dual diagnosis, or do you think they are?
Well, I've had the opportunity to travel and go to many areas. Some areas address this issue more. Some it's still pretty much a taboo subject because they think that it's a mood or mind-altering chemical. Now, personally, the medication I'm on is a non-narcotic stabilizer.
Mm-hmm.
Stabilizer means if I was born with an imbalance and it's rebalanced, therefore I don't see that as a mind-altering chemical.
Gotcha.
Per se, in the addiction sense. By knowing my dual diagnosis and getting into recovery after I was released after 6 months, I went running into a 12-step program.
Mm-hmm.
I knew, without a doubt, I couldn't do it by myself. And that, hand-in-hand with a lot of therapy, working hand-in-hand with a psychiatrist that was very good and knew I was focused on getting off of medication. I was on a whole lot at one time.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want that for my life. And so today I'm considered therapeutically level and pretty much a treatment success because I implemented all three things. It's, physical, emotional, spiritual fitness. And the program of recovery has taught me how to completely heal from all that and be spiritually fit.
Right.
And be able to make a connection with my higher power.
I just flashed on a T-shirt that I want to get that says, I'm therapeutically level. That'd be great. Oh, man. Okay, so go ahead. What'd you say?
That basically just means, I try not to let my head swell up very big.
Yeah.
My psychiatrist said, you're one of the most logical, sane people I know. And coming from my background, that really boosted me a lot, of course. Did I let it go complete in my head? No, but it let me know that there are a lot of alcoholics and addicts out there that aren't aware that they can have a dual diagnosis, an underlying problem.
Right.
And that underlying problem, when never addressed, can't give us a solid foundation.
Yeah. You bet. And the founders of the mothership, Alcoholics Anonymous, for instance, were very clear that sometimes we needed outside assistance. They knew they didn't have all the answers, and yet sometimes in many different 12-step support meetings, you'll find an attitude of people that think, well, we're not unique out of one side of our mouth, but on the other side of the mouth, we think that we know more than the so-called normies. And yet, it was the so-called normies that did more for our fellowships than we did.
Right. And, I'm trying to break that stigmatism, and a lot of the speaker meetings that I do, and the things that I'm invited to, I show people how that you can work both together.
Yeah.
That you can stay in the guidelines of the recovery program as it's outlined and still seek mental health wellness.
Yeah.
It's okay to say, I'm not okay.
You bet.
Which every alcoholic or addict that I know has emotional issues underneath all that, because we use anesthetization to make a Band-Aid using the drug.
Absolutely correct. All right, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, let's talk about how you got plugged into this social media thing, and then you did something kind of radical. You dropped everything and poured your whole being into this, right?
Right.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that when we come back. Folks, don't go away. More with my guest, senior administrator for some of the top social networking recovery websites on Facebook, Michelle Cote, when we return.
Exciting, informative, and phenomenal is the Recovery Northwest Project on Saturday, September 5th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Clark Community College in beautiful Vancouver, Washington. September is National Recovery Month, and what better way to celebrate than to attend the Recovery Northwest Project? Recovery presenters, exhibitors, and some of the most incredible people of the Pacific Northwest coming together to carry the message of hope in recovery from substance abuse and its co-occurring mental health challenges. The Recovery Northwest Project is a collective group of all types of entities in Washington and Oregon with a common goal of bringing recovery awareness to the local, regional, and national communities. Don't miss the Recovery Northwest Project. Visit recoverynw.org.
Origins Recovery Centers provides integrated inpatient treatment for substance abuse and co-occurring disorders. At Origins, clients receive expert medical, clinical, and spiritual care individually designed for their needs. Our clients leave Origins with the foundation upon which they will build the rest of their lives. Call now to speak with an admissions specialist. Our toll-free number is 888-843-8935. That's 888-843-8935. Origins, delivering real solutions for real families.
It'll clear the bitterness away. It can even set a prisoner free. There is no end to what its power can do. So let it go and be amazed by what you see through eyes of grace. The prisoner that it really frees is you.
Truer words have never been spoken. Forgiveness. That's Matthew West. Michelle, you've experienced much forgiveness in your life, true?
True.
Yeah. Is that hard to do, forgive yourself?
It used to be, but not anymore. I understand that I was sick. I think that now that I grasp the whole journey,
yeah,
I beat myself up anymore. I just want to carry that message of hope to other people.
Right.
And nothing beats that.
And you're doing that so well. You're very involved. And tell the listeners what you did. I mean, you just dropped everything and you plugged yourself into this thing. Go expound on that a little bit.
Okay, I owned a local business. I was very blessed with being able to help other girls that are in recovery, our recovery manor here. They were some of my best employees. If you're working a 12-step program, you can't get a more honest employee than that. And doing that and helping them and giving them, faces that don't have any hope, faces that have given up, giving them that light, just a moment of light, was so fulfilling. It almost makes me cry now because I remember being that hopeless, helpless person. And then I kept feeling I had several sponsees in the program, and I don't know, I just kept feeling this urge. And I followed the urge. I sold my business. Some people said I was crazy because it was a successful small business, but hey, crazy. It's one person's perception anyway.
Yeah.
But when I did sell the business, I threw myself into my service work, which is more rewarding than any amount of money a business could ever make me. It's seeing someone have a chance to live, to truly live and get life. I mean, that look in their eyes when they get that moment of someone gets me. And I see that they came out of prison, mental institution, built themselves in the community, built themselves just overall. And that was by implementing those 12 steps in my life.
Yeah.
I can't take credit for those things. I was merely a vessel and a way to let others see that you can go from that to a successful life. I own my own home. I own my cars. I couldn't be any more blessed than living in the program than I am.
Yeah.
I let other people see that and show them how they can do it too.
Well, you're to be congratulated because that's a big step to leave some of the things behind and move into this realm. I know that when I started Take 12 Radio 11 years ago, we knew that this was not going to be a money-making thing. We knew that we were probably going to be facing some pretty difficult challenges and some amazing opportunities. And it's amazing because, you get discouraged. I mean, I don't make one red cent doing what I do. Any funds that we receive go to keep us on the air, and then right when you think or you wonder, is this doing any good? Somebody will send an email and say, I listened to an archive of a show from 4 years ago, and I put the gun down.
Right. That's what it's about.
That is what it's about. It's about that one person. If you only reach one, right?
Right, and that's all that matters. I mean, you sit in a room, you do a speaker meeting, and people's faces sometimes go from politely listening to that look of something dawning on them, and then they got what I call that hope comes in them. And nothing's more void than looking into an alcoholic or addict's eyes who doesn't have any hope, who has given up on themselves. It's heartbreaking. And to see those moments come to them, no matter, I just planted the seed. I didn't do anything else. If they need my help or my advice, that's where I go on the social networking, on the site, and offer suggestions. And there are so many people that have been on those that were thinking of picking up at the moment. They were able to click. Everyone holds those phones in their hands. You have the capability to get a meeting of any type, anytime. It's right there. You're having a struggle, you post it. You've got tons of people from the cover giving you suggestions, encouraging you to keep going, and being able to understand that there are other people like you. It gives the person hope and more drive to get better. And just that in itself drives me forward with what I do. I enjoy the work that I do in the group. even when people are struggling bad, if you can be that one voice that speaks out and they hear you, whether it's on social network or in a meeting space.
Yeah.
I want everyone to make it. I just want them to make it and know that drugs are not the answer. It's a dead end. It's going to lead you one of three places, and the only one I didn't go is underground.
Yeah, if you ever attend, anybody that is listening, if you've ever attended a Alcoholics Anonymous World Convention or an NA World Convention, there's always a booth that is manned by, I know in the AA Fellowship, they're called the loner groups. And these are groups that are these are people they're solo, and they meet together once every couple of years at these conventions, but they live by themselves in very odd places on the planet, weather stations in the Antarctic, places in Korea that are way back in the bush somewhere. And these are people that have got a copy of the recovery literature, and maybe they'll have a Bible or some spiritual reading, and they're by themselves. And they have learned by going through the literature how to apply and implement that program and learn how to become dependent on God and not on each other, but on God.
Right, and that's what any program ultimately teaches us.
Yeah.
To have a connection with God. You're spiritually. If we do that, what the next right thing to me equates is that is God's purpose and His plan for all of us.
Right.
That is living in His will, is when we do the next right thing, always.
And I will tell you, though, it is nice to know, though, with technology today, that we can properly and with wisdom take advantage of social networking and get this wonderful message of hope and recovery to people that may not otherwise be able to get it. And that's why I am very pro-internet. We could pick apart the internet if we want to. You can pick apart anything. But let's look at, what is the positives that we can get from it. And 12-Step Recovery has definitely plunged itself into social networking, i.e. Facebook.
Right.
There's thousands upon thousands of groups on Facebook. And I have to wonder, I know there's drawbacks, but I have to wonder, how many people are we reaching that we otherwise would not have reached? And so I'm very, very glad to be on board with this kind of thing. Having said that, however, let me ask you, what are some of your concerns about people in recovery, particularly ones that are new, that may be on a social networking website?
I always advise anyone to join a local group, to find a local sponsor, because the one-on-one is very important. To come there for, online for support, extra suggestions, because I believe we should keep that broad range anyway. You shouldn't just be listening to one person.
Yeah.
That group consensus is always good. Also, when joining groups, check out the group guidelines. Check out the rules for your safety on the internet. I think that's very important. That's something I look at before I get involved with any group. I want to know that they are about recovery. There are some out there that aren't. But if you check the group guidelines, you check what their purpose is, you'll pretty much know. Scan the page, scan the page. And then, I think you need us to know that when it's a safe environment, then do it. Because, a lot of people don't understand either their posts are not shared publicly. When you're in one of those groups, there's an anonymity clause within the groups that I'm affiliated with, that everything stays right there. Whatever you post is right there. It's not public knowledge as to what you're saying or doing.
That's providing it's a closed group, true?
Sure.
Yeah.
I said it's a closed private group, and when it is, your sharing stays there in that group.
You're sharing in that group, yeah. Yeah. Somebody just can't type in recovery solutions and then without being approved as a member see what's being posted.
Exactly. And admins do check who apply to be a member on there, they'll go to their page and see if they are about their recovery.
Right.
Because we don't just let everyone come in there and do whatever. That's an advantage of having a good admin team, too.
Yeah, you bet. I'm an admin for a couple of groups, and when I get a request, I'm very careful. I check their Facebook page. I Google them on Google. I check.
Right, we do.
Yeah. I check their Twitter. I check everything.
Right. It's not personal. It's for everyone's safety.
Yeah. You bet. Okay, so when people are posting in these groups, we get a variety of things. We get humor, we get posters and paintings and sarcasm, and sometimes we even get some political discussion. You may get some right fighters in there, but really, it's pretty balanced, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And if anybody gets extreme, we do handle that.
Right.
Because the guidelines are etiquette. You ought to be polite. As you would go into any fellowship, sit down and share, we expect the same standard. So there's sickness everywhere, and not everyone has worked to a certain point, but our job is to be examples of what you want to get to. And if it's a healthy sharing environment, then people can take what they need and leave what they don't. But nobody needs extreme sarcasm or attitude. That's not conducive to healing.
Yeah. Now, for those of you who are out there that have attempted to find people to hook up with, maybe you're looking to innocently date someone. Maybe you're ready to have a relationship. There are social networking sites that are for that. There's even some recovery ones that are for that. These that we're talking about, that's not what they're for. Please don't do that. Solutions and relapse prevention are about solutions and relapse prevention. Recovery Solutions about recovery solutions. Just for today, self-explanatory. Happiness and recovery, pretty self-explanatory. But they're not for trying to develop romantic relationships with somebody. So even if you're unintentionally, we're doing that, we're asking you, don't do that, please. There's sites that will lend themselves to that. Go see those guys. I'm not out of line by saying that, right?
No, you're absolutely correct, because one of the group guidelines, and most of them I'm in, is not to contact members outside the group. That's so nobody feels, they feel like they have walked into a meeting setting and it's not following them home.
Yeah.
If anybody, suggests call me, or that's not allowed. Those are posts that we will remove because it's not allowed. You don't want anyone to feel pressured or like it's a dating site or something. It's very discouraged.
Yeah. One of the things that I noticed, too, that I find very rare in these four groups particularly, I don't see a lot of profanity. I don't see a lot of people, character assassinating each other. So I congratulations. That's there's something to be said about that.
That's what we do, too. We make sure that,
yeah.
We're all in a spiritual goal, and that's not included in it. The attacking another person, that's not okay, because we all have pain.
You bet.
And it's not okay to attack another person. If it's not conducive to a solution, do not be part of the problem.
Yeah, amen to that. All right, we're going to take our next break. When we come back, more with my guest, Michelle Cote, Senior Administrator for some of the most popular social networking sites, which focuses on recovery. Don't go away.
Men, women, and their families experience tremendous pain and suffering due to the struggles they face from substance abuse and its co-occurring mental health challenges. They need to find a safe place for peace and healing. Therapia Addiction Healing Center was born out of a deep desire to provide that safe and powerful healing environment. Therapia exists to help people recover from addictions by developing and maintaining healthy, meaningful relationships with God, self, and others. To speak with an addiction specialist, call 1-855-652-4325. That's 1-855-652-4325. or visit our website at www.therapia.net. Therapia Addiction Healing Center, restoring lives one step at a time.
Hey, you! Yeah, you! It's the Monty Man from Take 12 Recovery Radio. And as a journalist, I get a ton of literature from folks to read every single year. And I simply can't get to everything. But there is one publication I never miss. It's the 12-Step Gazette. This is an award-winning recovery magazine for Philly, South Jersey, and surrounding counties, and is distributed nationwide and can be viewed even on the internet. Rehabs, detoxes, helplines, puzzles, classifieds, columnists, events, an hilarious humor page, and so much more, all found in the 12-Step Gazette. To get your copy of the 12-Step Gazette, visit www.12stepgazette.com today.
You see, God's got a mercy, God's got a love. The ground now He's gonna lend a helping hand from up above. Praise the Lord, He's the God of second chances. You'll be floored how His loving light enhances. You can be restored from your darkest circumstances. Our God is a God of second chances.
Well, amen to that. God is a God of second chances, second, third, fourth, fifth, and on it goes. How many chances do you give an alcoholic or an addict? As many as it takes. Never, my friends, never, ever, ever turn your back on this illness. Never give up, because I will tell you from experience, that person that you say will never change will probably surprise you. It happens all the time. My guest this week, Michelle Cote, senior admin for several of the more popular and more attended social networking web pages on Facebook, particularly Solutions and Relapse Prevention, Recovery Solutions, Just for Today, and Happiness and Recovery. And these are just some among just a ton of them that are out there. And we've been talking about, safety on social networking. Let's talk a little bit about what people are posting. We know there's a variety of stuff that's being posted, like I was saying before. Everything from cute little kittens to videos of people doing crazy, dangerous stunts on the internet, to people whose hearts are being broken and torn apart because of active addiction, to people that are sharing stories of victory and powerful relationships that have developed between them and God. All are there. And let me ask you, Michelle, when you see a post from somebody that is just broken, I mean, they're at their wits' end. I mean, it's almost scary. You wonder if they're going to do something that's permanent, What do you do? How do you feel? Where do you go with that?
It immediately hits me right in the heart. Like many people, those are the posts that you will see people rush to immediately. When someone posts a struggle like that, they will quickly have 100 comments underneath them of people encouraging them, telling them they can make it. Someone maybe reiterating how they've been there, what they did to get away from that, or to a resolve for that, a solution. Mm-hmm. It's incredible. I mean, of course, those are the posts that we look for administrators too. First, we want to make sure the newcomer, or the person struggling, gets exactly what they need. We want to be there. We make sure and tell them we're there for them, to please let us know how they're doing, and they feel comfortable posting any struggle because it doesn't go any further other than right there. And you've got people. It's amazing, really. It's amazing how many people will respond quickly because they know how critical that is.
Yeah.
Everyone on there has been there at some point in their life and never wants to see anyone fall back again.
One of my, not too long ago, not too many months back, one of my colleagues was going through some pretty rough times, and he went dark for a while. We didn't hear from him on social media.
Scary.
And that's scary. That's really scary. And then he popped back up, and he seems to be doing okay now. But man, that's frightening.
Yeah, and, you know, I tell people in our local fellowship that, you know, if you're off the radar for 3 days, somebody's calling you. You know, someone's asking if you're okay. Because it is a big red flag for anyone in recovery. You know, when we don't hear from each other for any reason. And the fellowship is tight as far as support of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And the purpose of going forward and being okay in recovery.
Yeah.
Life on life terms happens to all of us. Isolating is always a bad idea. When we isolate, we get stuck in our own heads, and our own heads got us sick.
Yeah, you bet. You bet. Do you ever have like a post that just really gets you excited and just like you have a favorite one or a favorite picture or something that's been put up recently?
I would think that my most favorite ones are people who share their experience, strength, and hope, who will share their whole struggle, where they started from, what changed their life, how it changed it, and where they are today, encouraging others. That's always inspiring for me. To me, that's what we need to do. We need to share what happens after. We all know how we got there. The point was we got there and our lives were wrecked. What we need is a plan, you know, something to follow to get better. And those are my favorite posts. The pictures, not so much, because you can find them everywhere. You know, the real meat and potatoes of recovery, that's what always gets me. You know, either the person struggling or the person who has had great success from the program and wants to share that with other people and is willing to share anything they ask. You know, they can answer it. And are not afraid to. They don't hold back. You know, we don't really discuss drug use because that's not part of a solution. You know, everyone had a DOC, a drug choice. You know, but like I said, that's not so much what it's about. It's not what I call war stories.
Mm-hmm.
Those to me are not helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't see too many of those, though. I'm really excited about that.
They're pretty discouraged. Yeah, they're pretty discouraged. Because, like I said, we all got to the point of breaking.
Yeah.
And some of us completely broke. You know, no one really wants to relive that. You know, it's kind of miserable. But what we want to do is focus on the positive. You know, what can happen from here forward. Because when you sit around and commiserate, what kind of options are you getting there?
Right.
For, you know, recovery, really.
Right,
You're not.
right.
So that's not the point. The point is how and why.
The admins over at 12-Step Living Group Facebook page did something really cool here a while back. They kind of did a fast of all posts other than personal stories. And they said
that's fantastic.
They said for 1 week, we're not going to approve any posts that aren't personal stories. And it was great.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, it was really people that were in trouble and things like that. They'd still get the posts, but they chose to whether approve them or not. But they'd be in contact with them and help them through whatever. But as far as publicly posting them on the page, there was a week of that. I thought that was a really good deal.
That's fantastic. And I would love that. It's like going to a speaker meeting after speaker meeting.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've learned so much just from reading daily posts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how far along you are in recovery, something can enlighten you every day.
Absolutely.
And just having the opportunity to read through them all, which is my job on there, I learned so much, and it has broadened my perspective on things. I just want to get the awareness out there that there is a way. And even in dual diagnosis, we do recover. You can have a stable.
You bet.
You can have all these things that you had given up on at some point.
And I just want to express my gratitude from us here at Take 12 Radio because we feel so privileged because we have been given permission by so many Facebook social networking sites to post our shows when other people have not. And that's not because we're, you know, the cat's meow or the end all of recovery radio or anything, but for whatever reason, God has moved on the hearts of admins for these groups, and you guys have given us permission to do that. And that's I can't tell you how much that means to me. I really can't.
I really enjoy having the shows on there. You know, they're so inspiring. Thinking you're alone in this, it keeps people their lives at risk. This is a life or death thing for people every single day.
Yeah.
And we take that very seriously. You know, we want everyone to live. We want everyone to make it. So for so long, there was so much stigma to addiction, and there still is out there.
I know.
It's not as bad as it was, and it's because people are speaking up. They're letting people know it doesn't have to be in the ghetto. It doesn't have a face in a certain area of society. It's everywhere, all the way up. And just because it doesn't look you in the face like it does on TV doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Number one health threat in our country is addiction. It afflicts and affects more people than any other health issue or illness. And recovery from that gets the least amount of attention due to stigma. And what you're doing, and others like you, and what we're attempting to do is to break that stigma. We don't have to be anonymous anymore. Anonymity does not mean secrecy. I
agree.
You can protect at the level of press, radio, and films and public your personal membership in a particular 12-step fellowship, but that doesn't mean you hide under a rock, the basement of a church, or a meeting hall and not share your story. Because if you don't share your story, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's at Rotary Club, whether it's wherever it's at church, if you don't, people are not going to know it works. And then it's our fault if people don't get the help.
I feel the same way, Lonnie. I mean, if I choose to share my story with someone, that's my choice. I would never share anyone else's.
True.
Because that is
right.
their story.
You bet.
That's where I believe my anonymity and commitment to that comes in. All I can tell, it's attraction by promotion. You know, we're not promoting it. We're attracting other people just by seeing you live your life and your life being good. I mean, no one can say when they stop using drugs or alcohol that their life was worse. It's not going to be. I don't know of anybody that's ever said that in the over 10 years that I've been in recovery.
Yeah.
But I believe that if we don't show that, though, and let people see it, you're right, how they're going to know.
How they're going to know. You bet. Well, Michelle, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show and share a little bit of your story and what you're doing, what an admin is, and this whole Facebook thing. It's so vitally important that people get behind this kind of work and get on the. I'm not a bandwagon kind of guy most of the time, but when it's something when it deals with people's life or death, then I'm on the bandwagon.
Thank you, Lonnie.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, if you go to Facebook and you want to join these groups, you're going to need to get approved. You just can't join them and automatically you're approved. And they're going to check you out because they need to keep these as safe as they possibly can for the other members. So the groups, again, are Solutions and Relapse Prevention, and the "and" is the "and" symbol, not the word "and." Solutions and Relapse Prevention, Recovery Solutions, Just for Today, and Happiness in Recovery. And if you look at the groups I'm a member of, they're listed there as well. Michelle, thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Monty. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with your listeners.
Absolutely, and you're welcome on the show anytime. And just keep up the good work. Keep fighting the good fight. Power on, my good friend.
Right on, thanks.
All right. Folks, if you would like to contact Michelle, she's got a Facebook page too. And it's what is it? Michelle?
It's Michelle Jones.
Cote.
Yes, Cote. C-O-T-E.
C-O-T-E. And you can get on her Facebook page and be nice. Be nice to Michelle. She's a very nice lady. Do not be mean, or I will hunt you down and hit you over the head with my microphone. You bet. Our email address here is take12radio@comcast.net. That's TAKE, the number 12, radio@comcast.net. Hey, listen, if you'd like to be on the show, you could go to take12radio.com and click on the Be on the Show link. Please be patient. We get a lot of requests, and trying to wade through those is kind of challenging sometimes. But go ahead and do that. Fill out the information box and send it to us. I can't promise you that you will be accepted to be on the show. We get so many. But if you'd like, hey, you never know unless you ask. Until our next broadcast, this is the Monty Man along with Michelle Cote. We're wishing God's perfect serenity for you. Bye-bye now.
This has been a broadcast of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.
Kitty, 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 kitty.